And the clapping that they were engaging in was a rhythmic clapping?
Yes, it was clapping in unison.
I believe you described this as a ritualized beginning to the class.
Again, that's an impression, but that was my impression at the time.
And the chant, I think you said you did not hear most of it, but you heard the ending phrase, which was, and I quote, "We must be willing to act in a revolutionary spirit," end quote. Is that what you heard in the class?
What I'm referring to as a prayer, and that's somewhat misleading because I didn't think it was religious, but again, these are just notes to myself that I'm taking as I go along. This phrase, I had difficulty understanding much of what was said during that ritualized expression. I felt I could understand maybe half of what was being said, and this particular phrase was something that I happened to hear clearly. It wasn't at the end, it was in the midst of that ritualized expression.
You mentioned that you had read a book, I believe in graduate school, by Eric Holford called The True Believer. Had you read that poem at some time?
Yes. Yes.
And in the class, as the ritualized beginning was observed, you thought of Eric Holford's book on cult behavior, didn't you?
I think it was a bit later in the class. I think I can see that from my notes, although I don't reference that in the notes. I had, during that class, I guess an epiphany, which reflected what I was seeing in the class and all observations I had made connected with this program since the start of the year.
What was that epiphany?
Eric Hoffer, this is just what happened in a deposition. I have difficulty with this. Eric Hoffer wrote a seminal textbook, a seminal book in sociology in the early 50s, which you have referenced, about cult psychology. And at this point in the lecture, I had an epiphany about this book that I had not thought of in many, many years, and that what I was seeing, and it also affected a little bit observations I'd made previously since the start of the year, aligned with much of what Eric Hoffer talked about.